Well, let's go now to Sami Al-Aryan, who's the Director of the Centre for Islam and Global Affairs at Istanbul Sabahattin Zaim University. He joins us from Istanbul. Really good to have you back with us, Professor. Let's begin with the Israeli president's latest comments. So he's saying that he's shocked that it seems like Netanyahu isn't prioritising the return of hostages. It comes just a few days after he also said that he was disturbed by the fact that Netanyahu had resumed the war on Gaza last week. How do you explain this division that's happening between the Israeli president and the Israeli prime minister?
I really find it disingenuous because the Israeli president himself was supporting the genocide from the very beginning. Netanyahu's objectives are very clear, and he's been talking about them since the very beginning. What Netanyahu wants is to end once and for all any aspect that there is a political horizon or there is a peaceful resolution to the Palestinian-Israeli issue. What he wants is to reoccupy Gaza, to pacify the resistance, to displace the Palestinians, and he's been very clear and very vocal about it. The right-wing partners of his in his cabinet have been giving him all these conditions. Ben-Gvir has rejoined the government based on these promises by Netanyahu that's going to resume the war, and that he's going to do everything possible in his capacity, militarily speaking, to displace the Palestinians.
Yes, and of course it comes soon after Netanyahu dismissed the Shin Bet head as well. That's the domestic security agency. So there does not only seem to be a division amongst political leaders there, but also leaders of some key agencies in Israel. At this stage, what do you think Netanyahu and his far-right cabinet is trying to achieve with Gaza? Because it is becoming increasingly evident that they're not interested in returning to that ceasefire that they agreed on.
That's correct. There are two fronts here. There is an internal front, and there is also the Gaza front. In the Gaza front, what Netanyahu and his right-wing government trying to do is, as I said, is trying to reoccupy Gaza, to displace the Palestinians, to make sure that the resistance is totally pacified, that's disarmed, and hopefully even from their standpoint, either leave Gaza or be liquidated. That's their plan. And they were able to convince the American government to give them a window of opportunity to basically achieve this. On the other hand, there is also an internal battle that has to do with the Israeli institutions. What Netanyahu, Ben-Gvir, Smotrich, and other cabinet members, this right-wing government trying to do is to take over and solidify their position within Israeli society. They're trying to build an authoritarian and basically, and from their standpoint, a government that would be in charge of all the decisions and erase this line that has existed even on paper between a judiciary and an executive. So they're in charge of the legislative, they're in charge of the executive, they're trying to take over the judiciary part of the government so that they can do whatever they want in terms of building and establishing Greater Israel.
The United States, of course, is Israel's biggest and strongest backer, but it does seem that the Trump administration, at least for now, is preoccupied with potential ceasefire talks between Russia and Ukraine. What do you think is Trump's approach when it comes to Gaza right now? Because at least for the moment, it does seem like he's taking more of a hands-off approach and giving Israel carte blanche to do as it sees fit.
Appears to me he's very hands-on type. He's given Israel carte blanche, green light to do whatever they want. He's been helping them with the Houthis and trying to pacify the Houthis, trying to prevent them from disrupting Israel's genocidal campaign. And with that, there's going to be a cost. He thinks that he can get whatever he wants by simply uttering it. What the American government is trying to do is trying to achieve, at the beginning, Israel's objectives through political means. When they failed to do so, they gave the green light for Israel to continue its war of extermination against the Palestinians, its genocidal campaign against the Palestinians, hoping that somehow they were able to achieve it. What they failed to do over 15 months, they're not going to be able to do it in a few weeks. But Trump, being Trump, is always being pro-Israel, pro-Zionist. His administration is infiltrated with Zionists who are trying to give Netanyahu every justification to continue his genocidal campaign.
Okay, Sami Al-Aryan, we will have to leave it there, but it's great to get your analysis as always. Thank you.